Fatal fire, an elderly man killed in a Hintonburg blaze, someone else sent to hospital. What we know about the first deadly blaze of 2026. Good afternoon, this is CTV News at 5. I'm Stefan. The weekend ended in tragedy when flames ripped through an apartment building in Hintonburg. A man in his 70s is dead and nearly 20 people can't go back to their homes. CTV's Josh Morano is here with what else we know about last night's deadly blaze. Josh.
Yeah, Stefan, crews responded to a call yesterday shortly after 6 p.m. of visible flames and people trying to escape the three-story building. As Ottawa Fire recalls, it was a chaotic scene. Crews were on the scene within minutes after getting the call and witnessed smoke and flames coming from the structure. Multiple residents told them the fire was on the first floor, where they were able to contain the blaze found in a bedroom. After doing a search, crews found a 70-year-old male in the bathroom of the same unit, unconscious with severe burns, and was treated on scene by firefighters. He would succumb to his injuries later in hospital.
2 firefighters carried the victim out, where another truck had set up a medical sector where they were ready. They started CPR immediately. As soon as the victim was brought outside, they had oxygen ready and a defibrillator. The resuscitation was initiated by the firefighter, was taken over by the paramedics, who continued resuscitation efforts during his transport to the hospital, where unfortunately he was pronounced deceased later in the evening.
Ottawa paramedics say they were called back to the scene around an hour later for a man in his 60s who sustained smoke inhalation. He was treated and taken to hospital in stable condition. And officials were on scene again today talking to residents nearby and are urging anyone with information about the incident to contact them as the investigation continues. Stefan.
All right, thank you for this, Josh. A snow squall warning is in effect for Ottawa and Eastern Ontario, as well as West Quebec. This is a live look through our downtown Skycam. Environment Canada says brief periods of near zero visibility and heavy blowing snow is expected. We could see between 5 to 10 centimeters of snow this evening. Let's get right to Jackie with more details. And Jackie, it doesn't appear as though it started yet here in downtown Ottawa.
No, but within the next hour or so, Stefan, if people are starting the commute anytime soon, that we could anticipate a risk of those snow squalls, reduced visibility, and the blowing snow moving through. Much of the flurries and that snow is really focused to south of Ottawa, closer along the seaway. So the 401 is really going to be the toughest part of the commute. A blizzard warning is in effect for parts of the Eastern Ontario, including the Picton and Sandbacks area. But for here in Ottawa, as well as Smiths Falls, Cornwall, Brockville, a snow squall warning. So the 5 to 10 centimeters, this is still in effect and should be in place until 9, 10 o'clock this evening. This gives you a closer look at what we can see with the weather conditions really moving through, which should be clearing by Tuesday morning, where we will anticipate mainly sunny skies with a little bit of cloud cover moving through. In terms of temperature, it will be a cold and windy one. -15 is that overnight low, with wind gusts up to 50 kilometers per hour. So again, with that snow moving through, it could reduce the visibility with all the blowing snow. -10 is going to be our daytime high. We did mention that we are getting mainly sunny skies, but right now temperatures in the region still sitting pretty mild. -5, -6 is what really most of Eastern Ontario is sitting with. We'll give you a full look at the forecast in just a bit, because buckle up, we are in for more snow on the way middle of the week. Stefan.
All right, Jackie, we will buckle up, and here's a live look at the roads this hour. Environment Canada says the big concern is visibility behind the wheel and not necessarily the amount of snow. With the strong winds expected, there is a possibility for blowing snow to become very hazardous. The impaired driving trial for Ottawa councillor Matthew Luloff is now underway at the Ottawa courthouse. Luloff pleaded not guilty to all charges. CTV's Dylan Dyson was in court for us today. Dylan.
Stefan, City Councillor Matthew Luloff was arrested back on July 6, 2024, and charged with 1 count of impaired driving and 1 count of having a blood alcohol content above 0.08. 2 hours after operating a vehicle. Luloff appeared in court today with his lawyer, Lawrence Greenspan, entering a not guilty plea. A member of the Ottawa Police who arrested Luloff that night testified that the city councillor was arrested at his home in Orleans after driving back from Blues Fest. The officer noted he smelled a strong odor of alcohol on Luloff's breath, and that Luloff failed the subsequent breathalyzer test before being arrested. The driver who called 911 to report the impaired driving also testified today and says she saw Luloff's Jeep swerving across the road and driving erratically, hitting the curb like a bumper car and almost hitting her. The witness says she then followed Luloff to a Wendy's in Orleans, where Luloff's Jeep ordered at the drive-thru, and then she called police. She then followed Luloff's Jeep to his driveway, but did not see him get out of the car. Police also testified that they did not see Luloff driving the Jeep or in the car, but the officer added that the hood of the vehicle was warm. At least 2 other witnesses, another Ottawa police officer and an Ottawa police breath technician, are expected to testify in this case. Stefan.
CTV's Dylan Dyson reporting live for us. Thanks, Dylan. The Sri Lankan brother and father of an Ottawa man whose wife and children were killed in Barhaven nearly 2 years ago have received permanent residency status. Danushka Vikramasingh's family came to Canada after the March 2024 murders to support him, and last year asked the federal government for help as they faced immigration challenges. An immigration lawyer tells the Canadian press both the brother and father had their applications approved. Vikramasingh's wife, 4 children, and a family friend were killed in a Barhaven townhouse. Fabio de Zoysa pleaded guilty last year and was sentenced to life in prison. Earlier today, Ontario Premier Doug Ford was blasting the federal government's deal to lower tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles. Here's some of what he said to reporters.
True partnership is communicating with myself or other premiers if it affects their economy, and I feel it's just a terrible deal. It's a terrible deal for the auto workers. Don't use Ontario and the auto workers here as a pond. Everyone got something except Ontario.
Those comments made after this morning's interview on 580 CFRA's The Morning Rush with Bill Carroll, where he made special mention of Ottawa. According to Ford, the deal will also hurt Ottawa's tech sector because of what they contribute to auto parts and some of the software found in vehicles. The Premier also called China the biggest threat to the security of Canada. Scaffolding has gone up under the Bronson Avenue Bridge after a piece of concrete fell onto the Rideau Canal Skateway yesterday. Workers were at the site to repair the issue today. The city says the bridge is safe and there are no concerns with its structural integrity. The area on the skateway remains fenced off while crews complete the fix. A snowmobiler was able to escape the frigid water after crashing through the ice on the Rideau River. It happened near County Road 43 in North Grenville late yesterday afternoon. Ontario Provincial Police say the driver was not injured and will have to get the snowmobile out when it's safe to do so. This is the second time in a week a snowmobile has gone through the ice on the Rideau. Police are reminding people to avoid traveling on ice where conditions are unknown. After last week's storm, city crews are full steam ahead on snow removal. As large snowbanks continue to line residential streets across the city, crews are working through neighborhoods to clear the buildup of snow. While some residents say they are taking it in stride, others say narrow streets, parked cars, and limited space are making daily travel more difficult.
So looking at the snow accumulation we have, the weather upcoming, we're probably looking at a 2-week cycle period to remove all the residential and arterial roadways in the downtown area.
I think here you have a system and you are very well organized, but I can say I think you have a budget for it and you have, I think, services that are prepared.
The buildup is also raising concerns about access for emergency vehicles on some narrow streets. The city is urging residents to watch for snow removal signs, plan ahead, and be patient as crews continue their work. Canada's inflation rate edged up slightly last month, rising to 2.4%, following a 2.2% increase in November. Stats Canada says the year-over-year acceleration across all items in the Consumer Price Index was driven by the removal of the GST-HST tax break that had been in effect the year before. Grocery prices rose 5%, with coffee and frozen beef rising the fastest, 30% and nearly 17%. Gas prices fell nearly 14% in December. The Ottawa Hospital Foundation says it has reached a significant milestone in fundraising efforts to help build a new civic campus on Carling Avenue. The foundation has raised $396 million out of their $500 million goal, meaning they're nearly 80% there. The original price tag was expected to be $2.8 billion, with the new hospital opening in 2029, but the design of the hospital, the cost, and the construction timeline is not finalized.
And in that period of November, December, we had more than 6,000 individuals make donations to this campaign. There are elements of this new hospital that the government doesn't fund, specifically all of the equipment, all of the technology and innovation that goes in this new hospital has to be funded by the hospital. That's where philanthropy comes into play.
It also isn't clear if the City of Ottawa will contribute $150 million in taxpayer dollars, which was originally proposed back in 2022. Fans of heated rivalry can now get their very own Ottawa Senators jersey inspired by the hit TV show. The Ottawa Senators have made up Sens jerseys with the names Hollander and Rosanov on the back for fans to purchase. The popular Crave original series is a love story about pro hockey players Shane Hollander and Ilya Rosanov, who are on rival teams. The Senators say they were seeing requests for the jerseys and had them made up. They say it quickly sold out at Saturday's game against Montreal and are quickly selling online as well.
We woke up on Sunday morning. We had orders from, I think, Germany, Sweden, Indonesia, Kazakhstan, Sweden, from all over the world. So it really, it's great.
I knew there was a tie-in to Ottawa, and there is a tie-in to Ottawa coming, hopefully still for season 2. And just seeing the jerseys right there, it was just so much fun.
The Ottawa Senators say proceeds will go to Ottawa Pride Hockey.
I would just say that the work of winter is not so much fixing ourselves, but realigning how we think about things.
Coming up on CTV News at 5, why today is known as Blue Monday, the saddest day of the year, and how to cope with it. Here's what you need to know. Celebrate the season at the Trend Arlington Winter Carnival. It features magic shows, chili, horse-drawn sleigh rides, and even a cookie bake-off. It's taking place Sunday, January 25th from 12 to 3 at 50 Bellman Drive. You're watching CTV News at 5. Welcome back to CTV News at 5. We've brought you several stories over the last few days about OC Transpo cutting hundreds of trips as it deals with an aging bus fleet and maintenance issues. Transit riders say they've had enough. Today's radio question for the day asks, should OC Transpo refund riders when trips are canceled?
It sounds nice to give us a refund. I don't know how you're going to monitor that. We're going to have to document our brains out, which is going to take even more of our time to do this. I'm not going to start forking out money for cabs. I'm a senior.
Christy Cameron is here, and I love that listener saying we're going to have to document our brains out, Christy. It sounds like a huge undertaking, but it's not necessarily unheard of.
No, in fact, actually in Toronto City Council last month passed a motion to look at this. There's one city official in Toronto that wants to have like a money back guarantee. That's if your ride in Toronto is 15 minutes late.
Oh, wow.
Now, I mean, that sounds great, but again, document your brains out. Shout out to Ruth, Ottawa Now listener, for that passionate call. She's had it. So, you know, on paper, people love the idea because the crux of it is you're paying for a service you're not getting. But in terms of actually executing it, it would be pretty tough. Do you have to go online? Do you have to do it and a bunch of paperwork? And then how do you actually prove that you were waiting for a bus versus somebody trying to claim something that they're not entitled to?
And it'd be really hard to keep up with our seasons. Like wintertime, it's almost guaranteed that the buses might be delayed every day, weather dependent, if you will.
I know. Well, sorry, this is just my commentary, but 15 minutes would be good.
Right?
On OC Transpo. Here's my big thing. It's about communication. Open and honest communication with the ridership. Update the digital display boards. If it's a messy commute and we have a lot of snow, I actually think people are reasonable, but you have to let them know we cannot have these disappearing buses where it counts down 25, 20, 15, 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden it counts down to 0 and poof, it just vanishes off into the ether. It's unacceptable. And
we also know OC Transpo can't afford it. Thanks, Christy.
Well, that's true. Where's the money coming from?
You can join the conversation and leave a comment through the Talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app. You can listen live to Christy Cameron on News Talk 580 CFRA weekdays from 2 to 6. And now watch Christy's segments anytime on YouTube. Subscribe to the News Talk 580 CFRA page. Coming up on CTV News at 5, the massive crow roost drawing attention in one Ottawa neighborhood and what residents have to say about it. No, this is not a scene from Alfred Hitchcock's The Bird. Stay with us. Coming up later tonight on CTV after the news, E-Talk starts at 7, then The Big Bang Theory at 7:30, and then back-to-back-to-back episodes of 911. Now for another check on the weather, here's Jackie who's joining us live in the studio tonight. Jackie.
Well, thanks so much, Stefan. Light snow is intended for this evening. We don't quite see much in terms of the downtown part of Ottawa, but it is expected, especially with the strong winds, there is potential for lots of blowing snow to become a hazard with periods of near zero visibility, especially out on the roads. Here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam now, showcasing downtown Ottawa. So again, not much in terms of flurries in sight. Temperature right now, -6. The wind gusts have not quite picked up yet, but we could see that difference in the next few hours where we could see gusts up to 50 kilometers per hour. So right now, wind chill sitting around -15. We do have a snow squall warning in effect until 9 p.m. this evening for really most, if not all, of eastern Ontario. So 5 to 10 centimeters anticipated for really parts of our region. Here's a closer look at when we could see it start to lighten up. By midnight into Tuesday morning, it will be mainly sunny, clear skies. So we'll give you a chance to continue digging yourself out of that snowfall that we've had over the last couple of days. And you're going to want to do that because by Wednesday, more snow is on the way. Here's the terms of temperatures. -11 is going to be around the noon hour. Wind gusts will continue up to 40 kilometers per hour. The chance of flurries will make an appearance by late tomorrow afternoon. Daytime high is going to be -10, but anticipate lots of sunshine for our Tuesday. Terms of temperatures for the Seaway, -12 overnight. Snow squalls really focusing along the Seaway and just south of it as well. -8 is the daytime high for tomorrow. In terms of the valley, the daytime high is going to be -10 with a mix of sun and clouds. So I did mention that by Wednesday, we are anticipating an additional 5 to 10 centimeters of snow moving through. And it's not just this that we are going to be experiencing. By Thursday night into Friday, into Saturday, take a look at that, minus double-digit temperatures, Stefan. I'm doing a double check for Friday and Saturday, -27, -29 is those overnight lows.
All right, that'll keep me home for sure overnight. Thanks, Jackie. Here's a look at the stories you're checking out right now on CTV News Ottawa.ca. If you go to our homepage right now, all of our top stories, you can find details there if you want to revisit it. But scroll down a little bit, and then you'll notice that we did have an article about John Fraser. He is the interim leader for the Liberal Party, taking over after Bonnie Crombie resigned last week after receiving tepid support from a leadership review. If it sounds like deja vu for John Fraser, it certainly is. He served as interim leader when Kathleen Wynne stepped down, as well as when Stephen Del Duca stepped down as well. Lots more to come here on CTV News at 5. If you're sick of winter, get ready for the heat. We'll tell you why Environment Canada says 2026 is expected to be among the hottest years on record in just a few minutes. Here's what else you need to know. Toddler Tuesdays are back at the National Arts Centre. Tomorrow's event features singing, dancing, story time, and more. It's for kids 18 months to 5 years old, all starting at 10 in the morning. We'll be right back.
Get the latest live local breaking news. Sign up now for our morning and evening CTV News Ottawa newsletter. The best local content from CTV News, Your Morning Ottawa, and News Talk 580 CFRA. Get it all in one place. Sign up now at ctvnewsottawa.ca. The CTV News Ottawa newsletter is brought to you in part by CAA Business.
Here's a live look through our Centennial Glass Sky Cam. Current temperature -6, and watch out for that wind chill. Time now for a look ahead to CTV News at 6. Here's Patricia Bull.
Thanks, Steph. Here's what we're working on for 6 o'clock. An investigation underway after an elderly man died in a fire last night.
They started CPR immediately as soon as the victim was brought outside. They had oxygen ready and a defibrillator.
The man in his 70s died in hospital after being rescued from the blaze by firefighters. Nearly 20 people are now displaced. Ottawa councillor Matthew Luloff pleads not guilty to impaired driving charges. A trial now underway at the Ottawa courthouse.
It's very hard to shop the way we used to shop. We just noticed the beef today. We haven't bought a round roast or a roast of beef in years.
Well, Canada's inflation rate ticks up in the month of December with rising prices across the board. What it means for your grocery bill. All of that and more coming up tonight on CTV News at 6. That's right after the early edition of CTV National News with Sandy Ronaldo at 5:30. Steph.
Thank you, Patricia. Now the final 5 other stories we're following today. If you're feeling a little down and out, chances are you're not alone. Today is Blue Monday.
I would just say that the work of winter is not so much fixing ourselves, but realigning how we think about things.
The third Monday in January, referred to as the saddest day of the year, when most people start feeling the weight of Christmas bills, less money, less daylight and warmth. Experts say it's all about finding ways to stay happy during the winter months.
Even when they've been in my next door neighbors, it hasn't bothered me.
A murder of crows is the talk of Alta Vista this winter. Residents say thousands of crows have been spotted in the trees on residential streets through December and January. According to Environment Canada, crows roost in winter for warmth and safety, and residential neighborhoods offer tall trees, fewer predators, and easy access to food. Councillor Marty Carr says the city has no plans to deter the crows from hanging out in the trees. Environment Canada says 2026 will be among the hottest years on record. Based on current modeling, the global mean temperature is expected to be 1 degree above pre-industrial levels. Environment Canada says the period from 2026 to 2030 will likely be the hottest 5-year period on record for Canada.
Detroit up ahead for Coun to the Brigham, moves it and shoots it.
A little deja vu for the Sens, falling in the first 30 seconds of overtime for the second game in a row. Detroit skates away with a 4-3 overtime win. Sunday's game also the debut for 37-year-old James Reimer in the net with 19 saves on 23 shots. The Sens play the Blue Jackets in Columbus tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Ottawa Charge have acquired 3 Walter Cup champions in 6-player trade with the Vancouver Golden Knights. Forwards Michelle Acava and Brooke McQuigg and defender Emma Greco joined the roster in exchange for forwards Manon McMahon, Anna Mixner, and Anna Shakina. Ottawa's next game is tomorrow night on the road against the New York Sirens. That is CTV News at 5. Thanks for watching, everyone.